Yankee fan right now, and that's why I asked Moose to come on.
Well, I would say I would ask this question: is there a pulse for the Yankee fans? Do they have a pulse?
Oh, I didn't say that, Moose.
Well, we have a pulse. We're alive and well. I don't know if the team's alive and well. Yeah, I follow instructions well. Peralt sends me an email basically and tells you, make sure you're in there at 1:55. And you know what? I follow instructions. I'm there at 1:55 and ready to go. Good.
You're a radio pro. You're a TV pro. I'm trying to teach Dave this because Dave's like us in the media on that side. We're like military people. When we're told to be somewhere at 1:55, we're there at 1:55. Dave would show up at 2:05. Like he would
I don't do that for anything else other than this show. And it's usually because I'm doing something before. And I know it sometimes gets you fired up, Matt. That's why I do it.
So Moose, I appreciate your timeliness.
Yes.
Thank you.
No, you got it. Anytime.
Yes.
Good to be with you boys. To the Yankees.
I mean, what the hell's going on, Moose? First of all, are they trading for Ohtani? What's the pulse? What is it? Because there's rumblings coming out that like it's actually going to happen, that they're going to just say, the hell with this. We got to get this guy.
Well, the Yankees they scouted him for 3 years. The Yankees had tremendous success, with guys like Hideki Matsui, not so much with Hideki Arabu. They've had success of bringing players over from Japan and bringing them into this marketplace and having great success. And the Yankees had spent 3 years on Shohei Ohtani. Like they were absolutely crestfallen that, he sends out that memo that he's going to sign with a team out West, that he wants to play out West, has no interest in playing on the East Coast. And, the trickle down effect was then, the Giancarlo Stanton acquisition from the Miami Marlins, where, he could control where he wanted to go. And, Jeter was running the organization at that time. The Yankees didn't really give up all that much, but Stanton didn't want to go anywhere else and had conversations with the Cardinals and had conversations. I forget the other team, maybe the Dodgers. I forget the other team they had talked to, but he ends up in New York with the Yankees. But would I be all that surprised? No, I would not be all that surprised if the Yankees make a move for Shohei Ohtani. Here's the one thing I don't know. I don't know if he wants to play on the East Coast. And are the Yankees really going to go out and give him $500 million, $550 million this offseason after, they gave Cole north of $300 million. They gave Judge north of $350 million. They gave Carlos Rodon, who's blowing kisses to Yankee fans last night, north of $160 million in the offseason. I'm not telling you Shohei's not worth it. He's the best baseball player in the world. And you guys know that. And anybody. And that's why Artie Moreno has the fear of God of trading him, because the team is terrible. They had 41,000 in the stands yesterday afternoon for a 4 o'clock start out in Los Angeles. And we know Los Angeles is a Dodgers town. It's not an Angels town, but people are there because they want to see Shohei Ohtani. I get the Yankees are there, but the Yankees aren't really the Yankees this year. So is there
any chance they trade like a rental? Like could they actually use him as a rental? I don't think so, right?
I think you make that trade to sign him. If first off, the Yankees have done an unbelievable job of hoarding prospects and then letting those prospects rot away on the vine and then basically DFAing them or getting rid of them. Look at Miguel Andujar, look at Clint Frazier. Bird dealt with some ankle injuries here in New York, and at one point in time, he was the Arizona Fall League MVP. They had Gleyber Torres at shortstop for 2 years before it basically became abundantly clear to everybody else outside of the Yankees that, he's not a shortstop. He's a second baseman. He can't play shortstop. He doesn't have a shortstop's arm. Why not go out there and have him? And it was impacting him offensively. So could the Yankees go out and deal some, with Jason Dominguez and as part of that package, a guy that, they brought into the organization at 16, 17, have really high hopes for? Yeah. I wouldn't, but I think if you make that deal, if you're the Yankees, then you have every intention of basically opening up and giving Shohei Ohtani everything that he possibly wants.
So in New York right now, if the Yankees miss the playoffs and the Mets miss the playoffs and they don't make a move for Ohtani, is it clean house time? Is that it for Cashman and that's it for Boone? Are we seeing a total changeover inside the organization, or is there still going to be some apprehension about moving off of Cashman?
Matt, here's how lost the Yankees are. You had Hal Steinbrenner going on local, I think it was on ESPN radio, a couple weeks back, middle part of the month of June, saying he didn't really understand why Yankee fans were upset. Like the whole idea of it's championship or bust for the Yankees is kind of it. Unfortunately, it went the way of George Steinbrenner after George passed away. The Yankees love to pat themselves on the back. They love to talk about the analytics department, how smart they are. They're just as smart as the Tampa Bay Rays. And they look at you're talking about an organization that's worth $7.1 billion, right? They print money, do the New York Yankees. And they continue to do so, right? I mean, they're going to be unveiling a patch on their jersey, tomorrow night when they take on the Kansas City Royals, and that's going to pay in the neighborhood of $25 million a year. So, I mean, it's insane the amount of money that the Yankees are able to make and generate. So if you're asking me, it's going to clean house. No, I mean, Brian Cashman was just signed. His contract was up after last year. They brought Brian Cashman back. Everyone within the organization loves Aaron Boone because Aaron Boone's a team guy, buys into the collaboration aspect, buys into the analytics department, is willing to work with others. They liked they like the fact that he deflects the pressure off of the players, that he is a positive guy, complete difference than when they had Joe Girardi managing the team. So do I think there will be wholesale changes? No, probably not. I think under the radar, though, I said this locally in New York, the one thing is the Yankees have really been analytics heavy, where a lot of their baseball decisions have been made based on analytics and not the eyeball test. And I think slowly here you've seen a little bit of a change. When the Yankees brought in Brian Sabean and Omar Minaya this past offseason, from my understanding, that was at the behest of Hal Steinbrenner, where he wanted to bring a little bit more balance to the organization. So right now you reap what you sow. I mean, you really do. They didn't make any, outside of Judge and Carlos Rodon, they didn't make any massive acquisitions. Rizzo looks old. DJ LeMahieu looks washed. They haven't had a consistent left fielder the entire year. I'm not going to get on Anthony Volpe because I think he earned the opportunity. I think Volpe's got an opportunity to be a really good player. I think he's really raw, though. Gleyber Torres runs very hot and cold at second base offensively. Josh Donaldson, I have no use for Josh Donaldson. And the Donaldson defenders will tell you, well, he's a great defensive player. Yeah, that's fantastic. I can find a lot of guys that can be really good defensive third basemen that are going to hit better than what Josh Donaldson is hitting for this year. So, you're even getting a role reversal. I mean, a year ago, the Yankees were absolutely in love with, their catching situation because they were great pitch framers. Now you're getting the stories that the Yankees want to try and add a catcher because they want to get a little bit more offensive minded behind home plate. So right now, if you're asking me that there's going to be changes, I'd probably say no. I don't think there's going to be any massive changes.
Man, oh man. Speaking of changes, that was outstanding on the Yankees. I got way more than I even anticipated.
I'm sorry.
That was great.
I'll be honest with you. It is frustrating to go out there, lose 2 or 3 to the Cubs before the All-Star break, then come out of the All-Star break and lose 2 of 3 to the Colorado Rockies and then get swept by the Angels.
Not good.
I mean, it is. I mean, if you don't go out there and beat the Royals this weekend, what are we doing? At least Boone admitted after yesterday's loss that the team is bad. Thanks, Dave. Put on that Yankee hat.
I had it set aside, but you besmirched them so much I didn't want to put it on, but I'll wear it for you. But let's pivot. All right, let's pivot. The Jets.
Yeah.
Hard Knocks. Like, it's nonstop, Moose, and you're in it, but everybody's talking about the Jets and Aaron Rodgers and their minus money to make the playoffs. You're right there. Are the Jets going to make the playoffs? Is this compelling? Like, is everybody there excited to watch Hard Knocks?
Yeah, I think now, I'm not a huge Hard Knocks fan. Haven't been for a while. I think it kind of has jumped the shark a little bit, but working in New York now with the Jets being a part of it, you got to watch it. Like if it was the Bears or the New Orleans Saints, I would not have been locked into watching that week in and week out. So yeah, I think the Jet fan's excited. I think they're nervous because they don't know what it's like to have good things. I think they're nervous because they know they're more comfortable with failure than they are with success. So they're just expecting basically Aaron Rodgers to go out the first game and tear every ligament in his right knee and be done for the year, and in steps Zach Wilson. Like, I think that's the pessimistic Jet fan that's sitting right now on the Jersey Shore, basically wants to wrap Aaron Rodgers in bubble wrap before game one of the regular season because they don't want anything to happen to him. So yeah, I think to answer your question, if the Jets don't make the playoffs this year, it's a massive failure. I mean, there's no other way to cut it. And I understand that the Bills are really talented and probably more talented than the betting favorite to win the AFC East. And I understand the Miami Dolphins and Tua's got his own issues. The New England Patriots are clearly the fourth best team when you look at that AFC East.
Clearly.
But for the Jets to go all in this year and bring Rodgers aboard with a defense that last year was top 5, where they put the Quinnen Williams contract in the rearview mirror. They signed him 4-year, $96 million deal. And Quinnen is a happy camper, and I think he's one of the best interior defensive linemen in the National Football League. With IR, I would make the argument the best cornerback tandem led by Sauce Gardner in the NFL. Really, the sky's the limit. I'm not talking about that they have to win the Super Bowl. No, that's too much. But if you're talking about this team not making the playoffs and say they finish the year 8-9 or 7-10, that is a massive failure for the Jets.
By whom, though? Because there are scouts who are saying the quiet part out loud about Aaron Rodgers, saying, he's not the same Aaron Rodgers, right? This is not Aaron Rodgers of 10 years ago. You're getting a different version of Aaron Rodgers in New York.
But Matt, let me ask you this. Is his version going to be considerably better than Wilson, Flacco, and White a year ago?
But that bar is extremely low.
Fair enough. But here's the deal. I don't need to be, it doesn't need to be MVP Aaron Rodgers. Like the defense, is going to lead the way. You could easily this is the best defense that Rodgers is going to play with since the Packers won the Super Bowl.
Wow.
I mean, you can make that argument, right? You could look at it talent wise. You could easily look at it. And I don't think it's all of a sudden where Rodgers is going to be 31-32. I get where he is right now. It was so bad, the quarterback position last year for the Jets. Like embarrassingly bad week in and week out, watching that, to where the highlight, and I like Mike White's backup now down in Miami, the highlight of the year was his performance against the Chicago Bears. Joe Flacco couldn't move. Wilson stinks. And then you've got Mike White, who Jet fans, clamored for because they watched the other two quarterbacks play. You don't need Rodgers to be MVP-esque for this team to be a playoff team, because there are a lot of reasons that they've got playmakers on both sides of the ball. Garrett Wilson's an absolute stud at wide receiver. I don't know when Breece Hall will be all the way back from that ACL injury that he suffered against the Denver Broncos last year, but we saw that Breece Hall is a game breaker. The big concern when you look at the Jets is, if you like them like I do, is the offensive line. That's the concern when you look at it, is can the offensive line be able to hold up enough? Elijah Vera Tucker is really good. They have a 38-year-old in Dwayne Brown at one of their tackle spots. Mekhi Becton, I think, is almost a lost cause. They invested in interior offensive lineman in the second round, who I think is going to be their starting center, or at least their guard. But the offensive line is a concern for the Jets going
in a division with defensive line and linebackers that could take the quarterback's head off.
Sure. I understand, but it doesn't. And that's fair. But I'll tell you this: if the offensive line, they don't need to be, Eric Williams, Dallas Cowboys, Nate Newton, like that, Larry.
But they got to block for the running game
for sure.
I mean, this is what Rodgers is great at. The play action pass is what Rodgers was lacking. He didn't have the playmakers on the receiving side. They could run the ball at Green Bay, but he didn't have, obviously, Adams to go get the ball anymore. Now in New York, he's got obviously weapons to throw to. But if they can't run the ball, Moose, this is a big problem.
No, it's going to be a problem. And if Matt, if you get a sense that you're going to fade the Jets, then that's where you're going to heavily lean on and say, Jets, I don't think the offensive line is going to hold up. I love what they have in a lot of different spots, but still, I think that's going to be the big Achilles heel. And I can't tell you right now, sitting here in mid-July, Matt, you're crazy. You're dead wrong. Because I think that's the thing that probably keeps Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas up at night, is that offensive line.
Moose, do you go to training camp or do you go to Saratoga? Which one would you prefer to go to?
Toga.
Toga?
Yeah, Saratoga is great.
Have you been yet?
Yeah,
have you been up there yet?
I have not been up there yet. No.
I'm going this summer.
I am going to go this summer. I don't know when exactly I'm going to go. I think I might go up Travers weekend. I usually make a trip with my dad every year. It's kind of a tradition. We've been doing it, since I was like 20 years old, 21 years old.
Wow.
Different varying. Sometimes it's day trips. Sometimes we stay overnight. But at least one time we go to at least we make one trip up to Saratoga. So as a New Yorker in the Northeast, like, that's a place you have to go visit and at least one day during the course of the summer, because it's just, it's a slice of upstate New York right there on the Adirondacks. It's absolutely beautiful. I like training camp. I'll be going out there for PIX this year, and doing some interviews, and we're going to do some preview shows. But if you're asking me which one do I prefer going to go to Saratoga. I'm a horse guy.
Before we talked the Jets, obviously, but the other major story in the summer right now is happening with the Giants and Saquon Barkley's decision to announce that he may sit for the entire season. Ooh. What's the reaction in New York? New Yorkers are like Philadelphia, like Boston people. They don't like this. They don't like when $1 million athletes decide, hey, I'm taking my ball and going home. We talked about Le'Veon Bell earlier, his 5-year too late apology to Steeler fans for doing the exact same thing. Does Barkley actually sit the whole year?
No, I don't think so. Matt, I'll tell you this. I'll even say that I think he's going to be there week 1 against the Dallas Cowboys. I think he's venting. I think it would be, and if you listen to that entire interview, it would be against his entire character, who Saquon Barkley is, to sit out the entire year, to turn his back. Plus, let's be honest. I mean, did it work out for Melvin Gordon? Did it work out for Le'Veon Bell? I mean, did it work out for guys that went out there and Gordon came back during the course of the year? Le'Veon Bell never earned that money back and was never the same running back. When he came back with the Jets, I mean, he looked like he aged about 5 years in the span of about 14 months. Yeah. So I think, I don't know if he's going to be there. I doubt he's going to be there July 25th when the Giants open up training camp for veterans. I doubt that's going to be happening in 5 days from now. But I firmly believe that he's going to be there week 1. And everyone out there that's, getting on their soapbox, screaming and hollering about running backs not getting paid in the National Football League. Let's be honest. I mean, how many times do you see people screaming and hollering about NFL teams drafting running backs in the first round, right? There's a shelf life to running backs. So, I mean, are you really, from a business decision, are you really going to scoff at the Raiders, the Cowboys, or the Giants not paying their running backs and giving them long-term big financial agreements with big-time guaranteed money when we all see what this league is? Now, they might have ran the football a little bit more last year because defenses on whole got a little bit smaller because everyone was dealing with the pass. But you guys know this better. I mean, we all watch it. It's a passing league. And running backs right now, there aren't really any true 3-down running backs that are on the field all the time. There are guys that come on the field, specialized design situations, whether it be 3rd and long, pass protection, whatever it might be. Guys that are good on 1st and 2nd down, they come off the field in 3rd down. Barkley's a stud. There's no question about it. But the Giants are looking at this and Joe Shane taking the emotion out of it and saying, we're just not going to overpay. And once Daniel Jones signed that contract and the Giants were able to tag Saquon Barkley, as he said in that interview, that pretty much ended all leverage that he had.
Last one for me, Moose. How's summer vacation going? Because you got the boys, you got Donna, the kids at home. It's,
it's a nut house, Dave.
Okay, thank you.
It's a nut house.
Thank you.
Like, I told my wife today, like, next year we got to sign them up for camp. Like, I threatened my kids the other day. I go, I'm on the verge of signing you up for like military camp.
Right.
Like, I really am. Like, I can't take it. Like, the beating. Like, I came home last night I wake up this morning, take one of them to like a day camp, right, from 9 to noon.
Yeah.
And he walks out of his room and he's got scrapes and marks all over his face. I go, what the hell happened to you? And he goes, I was rollerblading and I fell down yesterday. He's got like a cut here, a cut here. And
looks like he went through the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yes. Yes, exactly right. They beat up, and I grew up, I had 2 sisters. I had one older, one younger, right? I joke around all the time. Like, the only thing they did to me is sometimes they put makeup on me when I was a kid, right?
Yeah,
that's the one thing. Like, these boys, they just beat up on each other all day and all night. And even when you tell them to stop, they just don't stop.
Doesn't matter. Caveman. Yeah, that was me and my brothers. We did a lot of that. But yes, you have a long time to go. Our summer vacation is over in the 2nd week of August. Yeah. You go all the way to Labor Day, right?
Yes, we go all the way to Labor Day. So we've got a ways. So
it's weird. When we were growing up in the Northeast, July 4th was like the beginning of summer break.
Yes.
July 4th here in Vegas is the beginning of the end of summer break. It's so weird.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, yes, like Memorial Day was like the early, you were still in school and whatever. Yeah. But July 4th was like going to see the fireworks with my mom in like Pearl River, New York, was like, once that hit, and you were having a barbecue and everything. That was like the start of summer, going to the pool, doing this, hanging out with the boys and stuff like that. Now I can't imagine that being toward the end. That would be so
I used to go
strange.
to the 4th of July fireworks always like somewhere around on Cape Cod, and then I'd go to Ridgefield, Connecticut for the last 2 weeks of July, and we would go to Rye, New York. What's the park in Rye, New York?
Playland.
Playland. Thank you. We'd go to Playland, and then when Big got shot there and everything else, but that was like the highlight. That was the beginning of my summer because I had all of August with my friends. My daughter goes back to school August 9th.
Nice.
She's almost done.
That's crazy. August 9th.
Yeah. August 9th. We're almost done.
I think maybe we should move out to Vegas. Maybe that's the way to go.
Well, you should come out. If you want to sign up for the contest, we told you this before. Come out. I'll pick you up at the airport. We'll go sign up for the contest. You get out same day. I'll have you home for dinner. Donna, don't worry. Just got to have the Moose come out. We'll pick him up. Have lunch.
Dave, you think my wife was worried? She's like, yeah, go. Take off.
Beautiful. Mark, thank you for the time, man. This was a lot of fun. Appreciate you coming
on. Matt, can I just ask you, do you wake up with an extra smile on your face looking at the Yankees and the standing in last place?
No, because the Red Sox are right there with them. So
he won't allow himself to enjoy it because
if the Red Sox were the Baltimore Orioles are today, I would 100% be waking up with a smile on my face. I would be like, this is glorious. But it's difficult to talk bad about the Yankees when the Red Sox are right there in the basement with them. So both organizations are kind of a mess at the moment.
Fair enough. Well, guys, love you guys. You know that. Appreciate you having me on.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Love you too, brother. See you.
Marc Malusis joining us here on the Bostonian versus the Book. Good to get him on the program. Hold on real fast.
Keep it moving. Look at you.
Get everything